What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we're finally ready to do the review of this guy. This is the Midgards-Messer Little Viking. As you guys know, I already have and love the big boy. This was a knife that I purchased from Kyle J. Lanfear, aka Red Wolf EDC. Whenever I first saw this knife, I saw it on because Kyle had sent it to the Apex Pass Around group, and I was like, oh man, that looks cool. But when I finally got it in hand, I really fell in love with this thing, and I purchased it from Kyle. It is just big, beautiful badassery. And so obviously when I heard they were coming out with the Little Viking, I had to give it a shot. Because obviously the bigger knives appeal to me more, but it's still not a small knife. So I was like, eh. So what ended up happening was Kevin left to EDC. He ended up purchasing it, and I was going to go ahead and go on the pre-order, but he was like, you know what? More than likely, I won't like it. And so just hold off, and then whenever I get in and do a review, probably won't like it, I'll sell it to you. That's what happened. He ended up ordering this, came from Germany, and this one, they are all numbered because they're limited runs. My big one is number 13 of 200. This one is number 56 out of 200. So there's only 200 of these made. And they're really cool knives, guys. I mean, what are we working with here? We're working with a titanium frame lock with CPM D2. I know a lot of people aren't crazy about that, but it's not the Chinese D2. It's the CPM D2, so it's the better stuff. Does it have great corrosion resistance? No, but it does have very good edge retention. It is seriously a mini Viking because they just took this and shrunk it down in proportions. Some proportions are the same. We'll go over that in a little bit, and some are different. This one feels the same as far as the action. Because this has a bigger blade, I am able to kind of whack this one out just a little bit better than I am the little guy. But I've kind of gotten used to it when I first got it, and Kevin talked about this in his little first impressions, is that it is really smooth. The only deployment that you have is this fuller, and so it's really nice, you know, as far as the slow roll. But I usually put my finger way down low where that fuller is and just give it a little wrist, and that's how I open it. And I've gotten used to it. If you're trying to do it without the wrist, it's not going to work. The reason it's not going to work is because the detent is kind of light. See how it just came out there? Which it's the same on this guy. The detent is light. But I would have rather it been just a little bit more, instead of, I mean, because usually smooth is better, right? No sharp edges. But this fuller, I would almost rather them leave a lip around there to kind of aid in the, you know, ability to flick it out. Because if I don't go like this, it won't come out all the way. So some people are going to like that, some people don't. I mean, there's a lot of knives that are kind of like that. Some of my Medfords were like that at the beginning, but then by the end I was able to flick them out, but they had holes for deployment, where this one just has a fuller. Would I probably rather have a hole? Obviously, because I love the hole deployment. But this guy, as far as the action on the close, it's just like this guy. Obviously a little bit bigger blade, so it comes down just with a little bit more authority, but it is superb action. The lockup on this guy is rock damn solid. It is not going anywhere. Running on bearings, has a very substantial stop pins back here that are, you know, oversized. You've got the same look, same frag pattern, same laser etching. The pivot is, and the hardware is satin on this guy, where they are a little pop of color here, but you also see the difference in the pivot design. Ooh, let's see if I can do that. So you get, you know, kind of a dome there, and this one has a little dip. That's pretty cool. They, you know, they changed it up just a little bit. But all in all, exact same knife, just a little bit smaller. So let's go ahead and show you what the big guy looks like in my hand. So I have bigger hands. This one fits me. I even have a little bit of room here, which I like because it gives me the ability to do multiple grips, right? It also has a finger troll. Now the finger troll is not humongous on this one, but it's enough for me to be able to choke up and get behind the blade. Same kind of design, however, this one's a little smaller. So whenever I first unboxed this, I was very surprised that I was able to get my hand all the way in this backed up grip, because usually this area, this grip area where it has this primary choil, and then it comes back and loops around, so your hand has to fit in there. Usually don't like that. This knife, my hand barely fits in that grip area, and whenever I first got it, was first handling it, I was like, yeah, this is great. It's still just a tad bit too small for my liking. If you've got smaller hands than me, this is going to be an ergonomic wonderland for you, I promise you, as long as your hand fits in this area, because as you can see, you can't really even see any knife there because my fat fingers and my pinky is just like barely there. So it's cramped is what I would say. It's a good way to say it. It's a little cramped for my big hands, but it's not cramped enough to where it causes me to be uncomfortable, okay? It's just right on the cusp. So in the backed up hammer grip, this thing is amazing in hand. One of the differences in these two blades is the thickness. Believe it or not, this one is thicker than the big boy. Let's see, you see that? It's actually pretty cool. I like the fact that they did that because it really does, you know, fill my hand out really well. So that makes that adds to the comfort. And so yeah, some of the differences that they did do as far as the specs wise, the blade stock thickness is the exact same. So what is that? That is the where'd it go? It's about 234 thousandths in the blade stock thickness, and it's the same on the big guy. And so that's cool, but you do have a smaller. See, that big blade is just totally taking up this. So you have a taller grind on the big boy versus the little boy. And so that does translate into a thicker, I'm sorry, no, I take that back. The grind on this one, even though it's taller, is thicker. Blah. This one is about 30 thousandths behind the edge, and this one is about 20 thousandths behind the edge. Now, it goes up pretty thick right behind it. So, but 20 thousandths behind the edge is really good, and it cuts really well. It's not a laser beam. I mean, you've got, you know, 234 thousandths thick blade stock, so it's not going to cut things like, you know, like a laser. Like I said, it's just not going to do that. But it does cut. It comes from Midgards-Messer, the guys in Germany. Dirk over there is really cool. He's making a lot of cool designs. All of his fixed blades on his website at Midgards-Messer are all custom fixed blades. He makes some badass fixed blades and axes and all that kind of stuff. But all the folders, this guy, the big boy, and then even the bomber, all of those are made by QSP. No, Concept, excuse me. Made by Concept Knives. And I didn't realize until I found out about that Concept even did OEM work. And to be honest with you, I've had some Concept knives and they were okay, but they weren't nothing really to write home about. But they did an excellent job with these. Yes, the detent is light, but the build quality on this thing is really amazing for the price. Now, this thing is about $350. That's how much it translated to from whatever the hell German money is to American money whenever Kevin purchased this, and I paid him what he paid. But the milling pattern, this frag, done so very well. All these rounded edges, it's just really, really nice work. There is the jimping that's on the back spacer, which goes up about 3/4 of the way, just like on this one. Actually, it fills it up just a little bit more between the back. But it's not really, you know, sharp aggressive. It's sharp, but it's not like cut your finger kind of sharp. And it does actually add some grip back here. This I don't really have a use for. Now, if I put this in the reverse grip, then yeah, it gives me a grip. I just never use the reverse grip. It's just fun to play around with, right? Which, with a lighter detent, some people like this. I mean, you can just whack it out like that, and that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. I just would rather have a little bit stronger detent and a little bit sharper edge there so I can deploy this thing out without having to give it any wrist. But that being said, for what it is, and I knew it was going to be like that, I really have enjoyed it because now I know how to flick it out. When I first got it, I was really trying to not have to do what I do with this guy. But I did, and it's not a big deal. The laser edge the laser engraving on these two is about the same. We'll get we'll get some close-ups here in a minute. We turn the camera around, do some size comparisons and more specs. But it's a little bit more vibrant on the big guy. But they are the exact same symbols on each. And it's a different font on the numbers and whatnot. It's just a mini version. It does have a lanyard hole. The lanyard hole is just a tiny bit smaller than the guy that's on this, but if you like lanyards, it's there. The pocket clip is the exact same size, and so it still carries just like this guy. I think this guy carries okay. I mean, it's a big, heavy blade, you know, and but the pocket clip on this one really works, you know, pretty well. This one works just about the same. Now, Kevin said it was very tight, so what he ended up doing is he bent this clip to where it was up like this. And he told me he did that, but when I first got it, I mean, it was way up here and you could click it. I ended up bending it back. And yeah, it's a little tight going in the pocket, but I'd rather have that retention because before I bent it back, it was not retaining in my pocket. And so I didn't like that at all. Now, I will say this, that Kyle Lamphere has, if you have one of these or are going to buy one of these and you want a fix, Dirk actually reached out to somebody in the States, and Kyle knows who they are, to where you can send them the clip and they'll put just a little bit more of a ramp there to help with that issue. I just didn't find it to be that big of an issue for me. I've got pocket clips that I don't do that with, or I don't want to get fixed that are even tighter than this. But if you are that guy where you just don't like it being that tight, you can easily adjust this, but seriously, I think it's going to cost like $5. Dirk worked out a deal because he wants his customers to be happy. And that's a big deal, guys. So definitely contact Kyle J. Lamphere at Red Wolf EDC. You can find him on Instagram. He's kind of facilitating a lot of that kind of stuff for Dirk and at Midgard. So hit him up if you have one of these or are thinking about getting one of these, which, saying that, I am going to sell this. If you are interested in this, $350 is what I paid, and I'll sell it for that. It's in excellent condition. I just carried it for the review and cut a few things, just my regular light duty task. It's just, now that I have both, I thought it was going to be just great just having both the full size in it. But I just, be honest with you, I like the bigger one better, and I don't need both. I've took part in quite a few very expensive pre-orders, and so I've got some money tied up. I'm going to go ahead and sell this guy. So if you're interested, hit me up on Instagram, or because if you do it here in the comment section, I need to be able to talk to you. Hit me up on Instagram or dtomknivesandgear at yahoo.com. I will probably post this if I don't get any hits right when this thing gets out of here. But it's a great knife, and I really would love to keep it, but I got to recoup some funds. And I think this is a much better size for most people who want a big bruiser but don't want a gigantic bruiser. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a very nice piece to have in a collection, a limited piece to have in a collection from a company that I really, really like. And Concept really did an amazing job on these. So let's go ahead and do the cut test before we flip the camera around and get a better look at these guys. We got some cardboard here. Let's see what it does. Look at there. I mean, cutting cardboard. It cuts cardboard amazingly. What about the paracord? Cut through the paracord like it was easy. Let's go ahead and do the twisted sisal rope. I always don't give myself a lot to hold on to. So this stuff gives us some trouble sometimes. Let's see what it does. Ooh, that cut really, really well. Very impressed with the edge that they put on this because, you know, with a thick blade stock like that, you just don't expect it to slice like it does. It bit into that twisted sisal rope. It cut through cardboard like it was nothing. So, you know, yes, look at that tip. I mean, just like the other, it looks more like a shovel. You could shovel with this thing, right? But the secondary tip on this kind of Tonto was very useful to get into packages and to cut things like that. You don't really have a piercing tip on this, so if that's something that you want on this knife, you're not gonna get it. but man, it's just a sexy beast, okay? Because I love beast knives, and that's what this is. So let's go ahead and flip the camera around, compare it a little closer to the big boy, and some other size comparisons, get you a really close look at the amazing job that Concept Knives did as the OEM for this guy. Alrighty. take a closer look at this beautiful beast. So let's see if we can get some good, look at that. There's your laser etching. And then as you turn it, you can kind of see light, dark spots. That is the nature of the beast when it comes to laser etching. But I really love their symbol. Holy moly, this logo is amazing. Now, if you want to know more about that, you can contact Dirk or Kyle J. Lamphere. They are very into this Viking. I don't even know the term. Kyle's going to get weird because he knows a lot about it. And I don't. I just don't know anything about it. I just think that it's cool. But if you want to know more, definitely check out Kyle J. Lamphere or to Dirk, I cannot pronounce his last name, from Midgards-Messer, and they will be glad to tell you about it. So as you can see, satin hardware, just amazingly rounded edges, perfectly centered, just an amazing job on the manufacturing side of this guy. Thick boy, there's your pocket clip that I've got back to normal. It does have some pretty good room, but like I said, it just is a little tight going in, and if you want that fixed, contact them for that. But I love the pocket clip. I love because it's not deep carry. I can actually grab it like this to pull out of my pocket, which I prefer to do, especially on these heavier knives. There is your pivot. These things do not have any internal milling. They are solid pieces of titanium with a lock bar insert. And yeah, it's heavy, but holy moly, look at that action. Oh, it's just amazing. Oh. So look at this. Okay, it's in the circle. So this is the mini Viking, the little Viking, right? But it's not a little knife. So the let's go ahead and if you want to know the differences between these two, we'll put them side by side, and then I want to share the differences in the specs that we have between these two. So the big guy is about 9 5/8 inches overall length. So yeah, biggin. This one is only 7 7/8. So this is a full-size knife, but it's not gigantic. It's big, but it's not gigantic. I think it's a very good size for a lot of people to have something like this in the collection that's a big bruiser, but not just gigantic, right? Like this guy, you have a blade length on this is 4 inches. You have a blade length on this about 3 1/4. You have a handle length about 5 1/2, and then 4 inches and 9/16 from here to here, and then from here to here. You have a blade stock thickness is the exact same on each, which is about 234 thousandths. The handle thickness on the big guy is 587 thousandths, and on this guy it's 668. So you get about 80 thousandths difference on the thickness of these dudes, and I love that he did that. I like a thick handle to fill out my big hands, and so that was the most surprising spec difference between these two that I thought was pretty cool. Then you have 30 thousandths behind the edge on the big guy, 20 thousandths behind the edge on this guy. Just amazing cutters. It's just they come through the factory very, very sharp. You saw how well this guy did, and this one did cut better than this one, but that's because you've got 10 thousandths less behind the edge. I mean, that's just ridiculous. So there is your size difference between the two beautiful freaking knives, and I love them dearly. Let's go ahead and put it up against another one, shall we? How about the Bomber? So the little Viking is smaller than the Bomber, as you can see. Got more blade length, more handle length. It doesn't have that swoop up right here, so the Bomber, I don't have that issue when it comes to the handle scale kind of swooping up like that, like you do on this guy. But the jimping, the jimping on this, I do like the jimping on the Vikings. It really is a perfect little poon spoon. That's what Kevin likes to, I keep using that, it's his term, but for your thumb to land, and this jimping is not sharp, but it's grippy. It's really grippy because of the pattern or the spacing that's around there. So it's a really good spot. I didn't find myself bringing my thumb up here in a saber grip like I usually do because backed up here, I feel like I'm still very comfortable. And so, yeah. Now, one of the biggest differences in these knives, and one of the reasons why it didn't work as well for me, is my fat freaking fingers, man. So let's see if we can get a better view. So you can see the sizes of the choils. This one is just a tad bit bigger on the big guy versus this. So on the big guy, I can put my finger there, and I still am like right there on the edge, right? But my fat finger still fits it. This one, on the other hand, my finger is there, but it really is just too close to the edge with my fat guy fingers. They did a really nice job as far as where the plunge grind is, where you're not going to have any problems sharpening this guy. But the finger troll, I just like it better on the big guy for my particular size sausagey fingers. So yeah, that's just all there is to it. Now let's go ahead and put it up against a couple of more. Let's go ahead and put it up against something that is still kind of a big bruiser, the Kaiser Sheepdog. As you can see, the Sheepdog is just a tad bit, I mean, they're pretty damn similar as far as everything. I think this is a 3.3 inch blade versus a 3 1/4. And so yeah, very similar, definitely thicker on this guy. And then just for reference, because everybody has one, I believe, the PM2, here it is against your PM2. So one of the biggest differences in these knives, obviously, instead of just the sheer size, is the weight. Neither one of these are lightweights, and I don't care. A lot of people do. You guys know me. I give a shit. I don't. I like the bigger, heavier blades. It doesn't bother me to have it on the belt. So the big guy weighs 12.15 ounces. That's a beast. But the little guy weighs 9.1 ounces. So definitely significantly lighter, but also significantly heavy compared to a lot of other knives, right? But like I said, for this particular knife being limited edition and just a big bruiser, I mean, you also, something like this, it reminds you of Medfords, right? Like a Praetorian or whatever. And Dirk actually says, can't talk, that he got a lot of inspiration from Greg Medford and his knives. And so you can see that in these guys. And I really enjoy, I'm telling you, if Greg Medford, All-American made badassery knives, and I have had quite a few of Jesus, motherfucking Mary, I can't talk. I've had quite a few Medfords. Jesus. Sorry, guys. And they're all wonderful. This is damn good and close to what you get as far as a Medford, except it's not made in America. However, the price tag is where it's at. I think it's an excellent deal for $350 for what you're getting when you are comparing it to something like a Medford. Now, guess what? If you're a Medford fan, you are an American, and you want to buy American first, I get that. However, this German company OEMing out to Concept in China, I don't think is a bad rap because the price tag is very reasonable for what you're getting. I like to support, a lot of companies, German companies. I'm not German. Kevin's German, and so now I have an affinity for Germans. Just because he is, and of course the people over there really are nice. I contacted them because I didn't have the CFC for this one, and then I got one. This one didn't come with a certificate of authenticity. You can get one definitely if you want it. All you gotta do is contact them because they also sent me a box for this, and I thought that was awesome. Sorry, I think I got one for this, but I didn't get one for this. I can't remember. But anyway, the boxes that we sent me are cool, but they're huge. And this is what the Mini Viking came in. Look at this badass patch on this very nice pouch. I really dig this. I wish that my other ones had the pouch instead of those big, huge boxes. Come with a little bit of literature. But yeah, I am really digging this. And so, yeah, if you are interested in the knife, it will obviously come in this guy. So anyways, guys, I really appreciate you stopping by and checking it out with me. I really do like this knife. I just like the big one better, and so this one is definitely the one I'm keeping. And if you guys are interested in this, let me know. I love you all. Stay safe in this crazy world that we are living in, and we will see you in the next one.